You can speak.
Thank you, Dr. Sampath, for this opportunity. I want to compliment you for having taken the initiative to organize this event with such eminent and distinguished speakers who are here. Now, having served the United Nations Center for Science and Technology for Development for 12 years, from 1978 to 1990, I consider this an opportunity to reflect on the role of the United Nations. I would like to, you have given a good introduction. I would like to quickly outline the positive achievements of the United Nations. It was founded after the wreckage of the World War, and the founders recognized the importance of three pillars: peace and security, development, and human rights. And the diplomacy as well as development of arms control prevented a major third world war. Now, this was a declaration of the human rights was made in 1948. Millennium Development Goal, that's established in 2000, is one of the important milestones in the achievement of the United Nations to combat poverty, hunger, disaster, illiteracy, environment degradation, and decriminalization against women, discrimination against women. Now, the four important ideals of the United Nations are: one is peace, two is justice, third is equality, and fourth is dignity. And the Third World War has been avoided. Among its other achievements are eradication of diseases, some of the diseases at least, reduction of hunger, development of international law, and agreements to protect the environment. Now, the Paris Agreement in climate change is one of its landmark achievements of the United Nations. Now, there are others, still, in spite of all that, there are still some persisting problems. Now, these are: gender inequality remains the greatest single challenge to human rights around the world. Climate calamity still looms. Biodiversity is collapsing. Poverty is rising. Hatred is spreading. And nuclear weapons remain still a problem. So, the UN works through its 15 specialized agencies, which among this I consider the important one. Five important are FAO, UNESCO, UNIDO, WHO, and the World Bank. Now, when I was in the United Nations in New York, I had an opportunity to interact with almost all of them. And the Center for Science and Technology, I had the development of responsibility to promote science and technology in developing countries. Fortunately, I had access to substantial amount of funds, but it was in the form of rubles. The Russians, former Soviet Union, paid about 25% of their dues to UN in hard currency, the balance in rubles. So these rubles can be spent only in countries where rubles are accepted, such as East European countries and some countries in Africa who had special relationship with the Soviet Union. Now, I could use this rubles to buy flight tickets in Euroflot wherever the Euroflot is flying. So I managed to organize a large number of projects in developing countries where rubles were accepted. And I also held several important meetings in Eastern European countries and some developing countries where Aeroflot flew. And the participants were also given per diem in rubles, which they can spend in those countries. It was a unique opportunity for me to visit a large number of countries in Eastern Europe, Africa, Latin America, and Asia. So having said all this, there are certain limitations in the United Nations. Now, there are still civil wars going on in Bosnia, Somalia, Rwanda, and Yemen, and there is a nuclear war with crisis in North Korea. In the Security Council, unanimous vote of the 5 permanent representatives is required to settle international problems, And as you all know, very rarely they can come to an agreement, and the veto often causes a deadlock. And despite the fact the UN achievement, there are some important weaknesses such as transnational terrorism and illicit arms race, and anachronistic composition of Security Council, and absence of mechanism to empower the judgment of the International Court of Justice. So these are some of my initial observations, and I'm looking forward to the views and presentations from many of our distinguished other speakers. Thank you, Dr. Sankar.